Hello and welcome to Facts Schmacts This or That. It's a new show that I don't know how to intro. My name's Matt.
Wow.
And
my name's Kev. I thought you were going to have a bit at the end of that.
Nope.
We'll work on it.
Nope.
We'll work on it.
We're going to work on it. We actually haven't worked on the intro, but the general premise
really
here is going to be called... Yeah, it's going to be called This or That. And rather than have a show where we have to do a whole lot of preparation for, this is just something where we can just talk about something very casually.
Yeah, maybe a little more current, a little off our normal brand. Just, it's like more fun, more podcast, less work for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And probably less listeners.
But hopefully should be just as fun to listen to. But the idea is I'm going to give Kevin the option of two different topics to talk about, and he's going to pick one. He's going to pick this or that. Next week, Kevin's going to give me two options to talk about, and I'm going to pick one. It'll be this or that. So Facts Schmacts This or That.
All right.
All right.
What do you got for me?
So, Kev,
Matt,
would you rather talk about dogs or music?
Let's talk about dogs, bud.
Let's talk about dogs.
I love dogs.
Oh, me too. We're both very much dog people.
Yeah.
How many dogs have you had in your life?
So throughout my life, I've always had a dog, and they all lived pretty long years. So 3 kind of with my parents. 1 is still with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, 3. And then, of course, I have the dumpster princess that I have now. Old Penny.
Old Penner?
Old Penner.
Oh, she's funny.
Yeah. She's from Louisiana, so she barks with a bit of a Cajun accent.
Oh, I know what? I did think I picked up on that.
Did you notice that?
I did think I noticed that. I thought it was maybe a little Creole.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, they're very close. Very close.
Very close. So, yeah, I've had a lot of dogs in my life. I had 3 dogs. Well, no, 4 dogs growing up. We had golden retrievers. I've had bad luck with golden retrievers. The golden retriever I had when growing up died at 7. My first golden retriever died at 7. My sister's golden retriever died at 7.
Oh, that's
my current golden retriever, yeah, and all from like different things. The first one was gastric torsion, where the stomach flips over. Not great. Part of having dogs is you do have to say goodbye to them.
Oh, dude, that is the worst. Like, I want them to outlive us, but then it would be so hard on them. Like my dog,
right?
So. My dog was a rescue, and I'm reasonably certain that men were mean to her. So she's never been a huge fan of men, and she is absolutely just bonkers for Sid. Like, she was my dog going into the relationship, but wouldn't you know it, she loves that lady. And I get it.
Yeah.
But, I don't think that she would know what to do with herself without us. And I think that would be a terrible thing if you had to, like, there's parrots that live like 70 years and stuff, birds. Like, I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad dogs only get like 12 on average.
I know. Yeah. My sister has a Burmese mountain dog, and they just have a horrendously short lifespan on average, because I think they're like retrievers where cancer gets them pretty early for a lot of them.
It's so weird how durable they are. Like the shit they'll eat, the things they'll do. Like they drink out of water that would kill us. And they're just like,
yeah. It's like, I don't know if I've told the story on the podcast before of so I have 2 dogs. One's a retriever, and he's kind of like cranky, I would say, which is why he's made it to 8, because he's not the nicest dog. And I've got a golden doodle that like would just melt into you if given to druthers. One time when the doodle was about 8 months to a year old, I can't remember exactly how old she was. We were getting ready to watch a hockey game, and I had made 2 pounds of chicken wings and set them down on a table.
Have told this story and crushed the whole
and
thing.
She crushed the whole thing. I'd closed doors, but it turned out, I didn't know this, that if you pushed against the door, it's not like it had like a magnetic, like a
latch,
like a sort of like a latch that you push in and it pops out. It's just if you pushed against it, it would bounce against the frame and pop out. It didn't have it kind of popped in the top with like a little ball and catch system.
Right.
So you could, I did not know that. So she hit it. It opened for her, and she ate 2 pounds of spicy chicken wings.
Yeah,
and she was fine.
Yeah, my dog's gotten into the garbage and got chicken wings once. I mistakenly left them out. My daughter was sure to say, it's not her fault, it's your fault, because you should know better. You're the human. And I was like, wow, I love you and you're so smart, but ouch.
My son is frequently the dog's biggest advocate. We actually call him that. We call him the advocate.
I could totally see that.
Oh, yeah. He's a funny kid. Yeah, every time the dog does something wrong and we're like disciplining the dog, he's like, whoa, don't be so mean to the dog. We're not mean. We're just like...
Have like a little trial.
Yeah. So she doesn't know. Because it's always Dot that we're disciplining.
You ever...
Henry just minds his business.
You ever been bit by a dog? Like by like a strange dog that kind of attacked you?
Yep. Yeah.
It's horrifying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I got bit when I was a kid, and it stands out in my memory as being absolutely terrifying. Like that dog was Cujo in my memory.
Mm-hmm.
It was rabid. It was huge. It was like the Ghostbusters dog.
Yeah.
Like the thing was a beast.
Yeah.
There was no stopping it. It bit my leg. I had to get rabies shots.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was awful.
I got bit when I was in grade 8. And it was a dog that was off a leash that was behind my friend's house. I was on his property. We were just kind of walking to the area behind the house. It was kind of a strange layout. It's hard to describe. So let's just say I was walking between a house and a fence, and all of a sudden this dog appeared on the other end of it, and it started chasing me. So I bolted.
Chomper, sick balls.
It was kind of like that. So from my from my friend's perspective, I was the first person to go in, and then like a second later, I'm just bolting out, and this dog is chasing me. And they're laughing their asses off like you are right now.
Yep.
As friends would do. So the dog bit me in the ass. I like literally on my left cheek. I had this little kind of crescent little bite. I went to the hospital and then had to present my ass to all these nurses and doctors. I can't remember if they gave me a rabies shot or not. I think
you get it like in the stomach or something, or maybe that's just my imagination playing up the trauma that I experienced.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if in the meantime they were able to figure out that the dog had its shots or something.
Huh.
I don't know. Or I just got negligent care.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of that.
Who knows? It also wasn't very deep. I think they're probably it was pretty much a scratch. It didn't like bleed a whole lot.
No. So you probably didn't even really have to go to the hospital. You just...
Well, I think you got to make sure that you don't have...
So, can rabies actually, like, it can kill a human, right?
Yes, it is 100% fatal.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, I always thought like a hybrid rabies virus, if it was ever airborne or like something. Sometimes when I watch a zombie movie, I think, yeah, I mean, you could suspend belief that this is some kind of Not the whole undead rotting flesh thing, but the whole like people losing their shit. Because like it would make you a little wild, right? It makes you scared of water. It makes you
hydrophobia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like old Yeller.
Yeah.
That was a classic.
Sad.
That was very sad.
It was very sad. I think, maybe controversial opinion, I think Where the Red Fern Grows is sadder than Old Yeller.
I've never seen that.
It's a movie about a boy and his dogs.
Okay. So is John Wick.
That's true.
How many people died because of that dog?
Well, don't kill the dog. I had such a hard time selling that movie to my wife because she knew that the dog was going to die first thing.
Yeah.
It's like and she's like, I just don't want to watch a movie where it's a launch off plot point. I was like, okay, but it's so worth it.
Have you seen all of them?
I've only seen the first one.
The second one's okay. The third one totally lost me. That's generally the way trilogies go. Like Indiana Jones had a solid. I feel like the third act was solid. The fourth episode of the Indiana Jones series, the one with Shia LaBeouf.
Haven't seen it.
Oh my God, don't even bother. What an absolute nightmare of a movie.
Aren't they making another one?
I hope not. It was awful. Just awful.
Yeah.
Just garbage. I think trilogies, like, leave it at a trilogy. Fast and Furious, I've never liked the Fast and Furious movies.
Although, okay, in Fast and Furious's defense, from what I understand, they actually have gotten better as they've gone along because they've really lost any pretense of reality or...
Dude, I remember I was seeing this girl and she wanted to go see a movie with her sister and her sister's boyfriend. It's like a matinee or something. And the only thing that, like, one of them had picked Fast Furious. It's like, do you want to come and see this movie? And this wasn't the original. It was like one of the sequels. So I go watch this movie. And at one point, they're in this car chase to catch an airplane on a runway. And it lasted for 5 fucking minutes. And nobody stopped for a minute and was like, wow, like a plane only goes on a runway for like 40 seconds tops and then it's airborne. It was like 5 fucking minutes. And I remember I was sitting in this theater. I'm like looking around like, is nobody? Like I actually laughed out loud and I was like, and everyone's just like glued to it. And I'm like, dude, it's like the longest scene ever. And it's supposed to be a runway.
Like it almost felt like they were doing a bit.
Oh my God. And I was just like, I will never give up that much time in my life for one of these, which is probably what our listeners are saying right now. Too. They're like, I will never, ever, ever listen to Facts Schmacts This or that again.
I haven't seen any of those movies, so I can't really comment. I do love dumb action movies.
For sure. Like Bloodsport. How many times has Bloodsport came up on this show?
A ton, because it's the best movie in the world. I need to watch Hard Target again because I keep referencing it and I keep thinking about it, but I haven't seen it.
You've obviously seen the videos of Steven Seagal running.
Yeah,
we're gonna link that in the show description. That will make your day. That is the best thing you will ever see is Steven Seagal running.
It is kind of hilarious to watch Steven Seagal running.
Like it is just the floppiest arms. Tom Cruise is also a pretty funny runner.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a thing about Steven Seagal recently? Like, didn't he get like super weird about something?
Oh, he like pretty much just lives in Russia. He's very pro Putin. He's very.
But he was like a sheriff or something too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Didn't he actually have a legit job at one point?
Well, he showed up at some, like when he was a big movie star, he showed up at some sheriff's office and was like, make me a part-time deputy. So they did because
It's Steven
I guess
Seagal.
why not? It's Steven Seagal. So yeah, he did that for a while. I don't know if that's exactly how that went down, actually. But
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I mean, that's how I imagine.
JCVD. Steven Seagal.
Have you seen that movie, JCVD?
No.
Where Jean-Claude Van Damme it's this kind of weird, sort of like Being John Malkovich, where John Malkovich is in it. JCVD, it's a movie about himself. This kind of fictionalized version of himself.
That's cool.
But also kind of a real version of himself, too. But he gets involved in a bank robbery. Like he's a customer, I think, while it's going down, but somehow gets confused for one of the bank robbers. And I can't remember exactly how that exactly went, but it's a really interesting movie. It was really kind of fun. He does this monologue at the close to the end that was really quite... it breaks the fourth wall, and it's very kind of self-aware and kind of brutally honest with what he was and what he is now, and it was really interesting. Anyways, I would recommend watching that movie for completely different reasons than I would recommend most Van Damme movies.
Okay, so I have an observation that you often seem to like these quirky kind of, like you like the raunchy action movie, or like the kind of quirky, JCVD. And then when I ask you about like, hey Matt, like, have you seen like this fucking best movie of the year? And you're like, no, never seen it. Don't think I'm going to watch it. And then you're like, yeah, let me give you a 20-minute breakdown on JCVD. And then I'm like, hey, did you see the new Batman movie? Like, not interested.
Well, the difference is that movie came out in like 2005. Like I saw it in like 2006, like, when I still had time to watch movies.
Fair enough.
When that was still something I was into.
Fair. That's fair.
I'm kind of getting back. I'm trying to get back into movies. It's just something I just stopped paying attention to entirely. I took like 10 years off of movies.
Yeah, movies are good. We just watched the new Ghostbusters last night. Like the the Afterlife one, not the one with the all-female cast.
Yeah.
Which I heard was terrible. This one was fun. I mean, it was everything you expected it to be. But having been like a child of the 80s, a Ghostbusters fan, I had to watch it. And, I won't spoil anything if you haven't seen it. It's fun. It would be good to watch with your boy.
Well, we watched the original with him, so that would be... I was kind of planning on, okay, well, now here's the newer one.
Yeah. I went into that
because I wanted to at least give him the context, because I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm like, you do stupid things like that with your kids where you're like, no, this is important. You need to know.
You need to understand the cultural significance of
you
all
need
of
to
these
understand.
Things.
Yeah.
Dude, there was like a really, do you remember in the original Ghostbusters when the ghost goes down on Dan Aykroyd?
Yeah.
Like, that was a very kind of adult moment in that movie that completely just went over my head.
Yeah, I think that was one of those kind of like all of a sudden stand up and stand in front of the TV sort of moments.
Oh, really?
You're like, oh, I forgot about that. So I'm just going to I just want to draw your attention over here for about 12 seconds.
Well, it's like there's a lot of, like we've talked on the show about Animaniacs, how they have like adult humor in them. SpongeBob has adult humor in it. And they sneak it in there for, the parents or whatnot. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, it goes.
I think
completely
the fun. I don't think I'd worry about nudity, but if it was like sexual nudity, then I think that would be different.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
For a kid, because I don't want him to feel like nudity is something to be ashamed of. I don't want him.
If it was you, yes.
I don't want him to think that like sexuality is something to be ashamed of either. But it's you just like, I don't necessarily want to get it. It's not ready to have those conversations. He's not really ready for that.
I always find it...
I kind of forget that stuff's in a lot of movies, and you're like, oh, shit.
I find it kind of weird sometimes to think about the difference between, like, okay, if you had, like, a group of 4 or 5 people sitting in a room, and, there's a murder on screen, and everybody just kind of watches it and whatever, and it is what it is, and you don't think anything of it. But if there was like a scene where like 2 people were like having sex and there was nudity and all this stuff, like Yeah, there's a couple of people in there who would be kind of uncomfortable. And you kind of look, like, oh, like,
Yeah.
whatever. But you think, like, okay, like, murder is cool. Banging, that's what we get weird about. And that's like the most natural thing. That's life. That's
I know.
That's
now
love, whatever it is to you.
There is a way to look at it that we think of that as something that's just like intensely private, and so it's murder and violence and stuff. It's not like everybody has this private violent life, right? But everyone's got kind of a private sexual life.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So I look at it sort of like that, where maybe people get uncomfortable with it because it's just something that they feel is inherently private.
I guess. I mean, I don't know. I always think like
that's my charitable read.
Like when you see something on the news and it's like somebody dies or something, or you see something where someone, and it just seems like almost vulgar that you're able to see that.
Yeah.
Right? Where you're like, that's like the end of someone's life. Like, we shouldn't be spectating it. And then, but in TV and movies, like, I mean, how many murders do you think you saw before you were 16?
Oh, and I was the youngest of 3 kids. And so, my parents really didn't. I saw some stuff way younger than I should have seen some stuff. My parents didn't really gear everything towards the youngest kid.
They didn't care anymore.
No, so I was.
They're like, fuck it.
I remember. Yeah, and I loved horror movies at an early age. I loved like Nightmare on Elm Street movies, particularly.
This explains so much. But no, I think I've always thought that's kind of weird that like, and how tied into our entertainment is murder and mayhem. Like, I'll be honest, most of the video games I play, I'm shooting somebody.
Oh, for sure. And we're actually, like, we're pretty good with our kid in terms of not filtering a whole lot of stuff. Like, he knows the swear words. He's obsessed with swear words. He asks us about swear words all the time. So there are certain things like any of the racial, slurs, we're not ready to discuss that with him, but like regular swear words, we're not like, it's okay for you to, we're actually not even like, it's not okay for him to say them.
It's about knowing when and where is appropriate.
When and where.
Not around
and so
others,
I think
not at school, not
exactly. And we're very open with, the reason you can't say them is because you need to learn when and where it's appropriate to.
That's a
good
good point.
Yeah. It's not about, they're not forbidden words. They're just powerful words.
For sure.
Now, so like when my sister died, we told him it's okay to say fuck cancer. And he does occasionally, but he kind of whispers it.
Nice.
That's
cute.
It's kind of funny, but it's,
I find
it's okay to say it in that context, right? And it's all about teaching him what the right context is.
Yeah, I find I have a hard time because I straddled 2 worlds. Like, so for anybody listening, like I have been a tradesman for a long time, like construction, go build a refinery or whatever, mechanic, and that environment is very vulgar. You swear a lot, there's you say, and there's stuff that still to this day gets said out there that you would just never dream of being able to say in a workplace. Like and there's stuff that I hear out there that I go like, God, fuck, come on guys. Like let's stop with this shit. But then at the same time, I also work with other businesses sometimes, doing web stuff, doing the podcast, where it's like, there's certain words that like at work, you just imagine a long string of expletives as you're bashing something with a huge hammer and it's not moving, that, you just can't say anywhere else. And it's hard because sometimes you'll go from one world to the other. And all of a sudden you realize you're swearing every other word. Like when I would go away for work and I'd be around the guys all the time, I'd come home and it would take 2 or 3 days where I'm F this or this effing thing, and then you catch yourself. You're like, yeah, I'm I'm around you know, people again. I have to, not that work people aren't people, but it's just a different culture, and when and where those things are appropriate can vary greatly.
For sure. Even, you know, I used to work at a bank at one point. And I did various, you know, things at the bank, but you'd be dealing with a customer and you have to act, you know, in a very specific way, and then you get behind the scenes and you're you know, talking about a problem, and not every time, but a lot of times people who are having a rough time at a bank have done something silly.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I know all about that.
And you know, it's not like there's no judgment, but it's just like this person has gotten themselves into a situation,
dude,
and and so you go behind the scenes and you're having, you know, frank discussions about what's going on, and you know, you can swear and whatever, and then you get back out and it's
business. You gotta
it's business, and you have to be
your employer,
and you have to be respectful because you're dealing with someone who's going through a rough time.
The thing, like, I have no problem admitting this. Like, I've struggled. We like the last year has not been great for us here. We had some health things going on. I had to step down from a really good job I had out of town that paid me, I mean, just an insane amount. And I had to come home, and it's been a struggle. And, you know, it's hard. And I think with the cost of living now, the rapid inflation, all that stuff, I think if you weren't slightly comfortable to begin with, nobody, like, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fortunate enough that I bought a house before things got stupid. My sister told me my house, so my sister's a realtor. She told me my house is worth, like, it's pushing 3 times what I paid for it, 2 and a bit. Yeah. It's insane. Like, I couldn't buy my house now, even with the same. Oh, and I make the same.
Yeah,
money.
I'm in the same boat. Yeah,
right? I maybe make $1 more an hour than I did 5 years ago. Maybe $3 or $4 bucks, say. So I make $3 or $4 more dollars, which is like what? I don't know, like maybe 5% more.
Yeah,
and my house
something's got to happen with that.
Way more. Like everybody.
Something has to happen with the housing market. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
well, and then you know, food, Bank of Canada raises the rates, cars, which gas, should theoretically help deal with inflation, but then that makes your loans more expensive.
Oh, buddy, it's just so it's awful. It is absolutely awful.
But you know, the really important thing though is that we're creating a lot of value for shareholders, and CEOs are going to make more money than ever.
I can't talk about these things in a public place.
Well, but like, and that's. You know, this is our episode about dogs.
Yeah,
that's
well, it's this or that. We went from this, and now we're on that.
There we go. Yeah,
that's how the show works. So we're figuring it out.
Yeah. You know that I personally believe a lot of this inflation is due to companies taking advantage of what's going on right now.
Oh, dude, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
The thing that.
And then the Bank of Canada raises rates and we feel the squeeze.
Oh, dude, I'm such a communist. Like, I'm like, yeah, just socialize businesses. I know there's and someone's out there, oh, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Well, you're listening to Facts Schmacts, first of all. Secondly, I mean, I've never claimed to be an expert in this. I'm just emotional about it, where I think that money should benefit everybody.
Yeah.
Right. If you're gonna have look at Elon Musk. He has $300 billion. You take a company like Twitter's, I think they said it was worth like I'm spitballing just a headline I saw, like $40 billion. Billion.
That's his offer. Twitter thinks it's worth a lot more than that.
Sure. Okay. Regardless, billions of dollars. Who owns it? Who owns Twitter? The shareholders. The business?
Yeah.
What is the business? It's a corporation. It's a thing. It's legally a corporation is an entity.
Mm-hmm. And it's got a board of directors
Sure.
who have certain legal obligations, like fiduciary duty to the company.
Sure.
But that fiduciary duty is to the shareholders, so it's to maximize profit for the shareholders.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like,
there needs to be a counterbalance to the drive to suck the money up to the to the shareholder class. And, the capitalists will say on the flip side of that, well, your retirement fund, your investment, that's all tied to that stuff. And you want that stuff to do well so that you can retire. But, like, man, you got to live till you retire. Mm-hmm. You got to be able to put money into one of those things.
I don't remember ever struggling like this. I remember when I used to live in that tiny apartment when I was going to college.
Yeah.
Dude, life was so simple then. I had the most basic bills. I paid my cell phone. I paid my rent. And then eventually I added some child support to that. But that was it. And that was it. And then, you know what? You could pay all those off of like one paycheck, maybe two. And then you would have some money left over and you could go buy a case of beer. Didn't think anything of it. Hop in a cab, grab a pack of darts, bag of weed. Life was simple. Yeah. And then I went out and had fun and everything seemed fine. Now, like, dude, it's so brutal. Like, everything is right now, right now, more money. And we get like a $1 a year raise. Like, fuck off. And that's probably good compared to a lot of people.
Well, if you're not matching inflation with a raise, it's a pay cut.
100%. So everything's been a pay cut.
Yeah.
It's brutal, man. I feel for, dude, and people renting right now.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the
situation. Like, something has to give in this situation. It cannot continue it cannot continue like it is. Wages have to go up. Wages have been suppressed for so long.
Oh, man.
Something's got to give.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like more unions. I think there should be more unions.
Well, as a union member, I obviously believe in unions. And I will tell you, I've never felt like what we were doing was screwing anybody over. We were taking our cut. Like, we give a fair day. And the thing is, like, there's a lot of unions that have bloat. Like, I don't get sick days. I don't get, I get a large vacation pay percentage, like 10%, but I don't get stat holidays. If I'm sick and don't go into work, I don't get paid. I don't show up, I don't get paid. Our thing's been a fair day's wage for a fair day's work. And that's how it's been with the labor union that I'm associated with. And we go in there and we work, man, and we're throwing our bodies against metal and things and chemicals, and like, you don't know the shit that's out there. Super dangerous stuff. And it used to be that guys who had, and these were good wages for blue collar workers, it used to be that you would have a nice house and a brand new car and maybe a boat or an ATV or something, a bike, a toy. You'd raise your family, your wife could stay at home. Like, that's how it was 20 years ago with these guys. Like, when I first got in, I would go to like a journeyman's house and I'd be like, oh my God, man, this guy's got everything. Like, he's just, and then now, or even when I got in, guys, first year apprentices were able to buy a house and a new truck and they partied all the time. Not all of them, but some of them, partied all the time, brand new truck, brand new house. Now we have second and third years who can't even afford to move out on their own because they can't afford to rent. That's disgraceful. And that's been only like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Disgraceful, man. 15 years, you're telling me somebody's, and like first year apprentices started like a lot of money, a lot more than the average worker outside of a union.
Oh, yeah. Like,
it's 100%. People need to start paying people more.
Yeah.
It's the vanishing middle class. There's going to be ultra rich and peasants. And that's it.
We're quickly moving back towards like a caste system.
Yeah. It's brutal. How do those end? Do you remember?
Like a feudal system. Pardon me?
How do those usually end? Do you remember?
Don't
the people just rise up?
Yeah, eventually. I just think there was a really good stretch there where corporations put so much effort into selling the message that unions weren't important anymore because, we're taking care of people, but they've stopped taking care of people.
100%.
If they ever did.
100%.
So, their unions are important, and I think that there's a ton of businesses that need to unionize.
Yep.
Like there's
Amazon
a ton of
just
businesses
unionized certain parts of it.
Certain parts of it. That's amazing to see.
Yeah. Dude, come on. The guy's got that fucking guy with his space program. Like,
right.
God, that fucking pissed me off. It's just something I was like, crash, crash, crash. I fucking hate that, man. That's bullshit. Elon, I mean, he's doing stuff with NASA. He's I think like his space program is furthering humanity. Yes, he's making money off it, I think.
I think every billionaire is a policy failure.
100%. 100%.
So I just, if we could have a robust public service that actually like gave a damn about building rockets, but we don't. We decide that the private sector is better at doing that. Now maybe like, I don't know, man. So the flip side of the coin is that the private sector was, better at designing airplanes in the Cold War than the Russians, were with their state programs. I think that's generally accepted as the truth.
Sure. But I mean,
not to say that like the Russians were like incompetent. That's like the Russians were very good, and I think the private sector, the competition, the private sector generally was a better atmosphere for a general better tool for that job.
Sure.
But I think we need to look at capitalism more as a tool than like a be all end all. And also, it doesn't always select for the right things. There needs to be checks and balances on it.
There needs to be something. Something has to give, man, because, like, I don't know. I'm old enough to remember, and I think growing up, even, like, my dad had a good job, my mom had a good job, and they struggled, they went paycheck to paycheck sometimes. But I don't know, man, it's been different in the last couple of years, definitely in the last 2 years.
Yeah. My parents owned a business, and I think they would tell you it was a hard life. But they
have a lot to show for their hard work, though. Like they've done well,
in a way. But as they don't have certain things that other people that are in their bracket have, like pensions, for example. Yeah. Like they have property, not pensions.
Sure.
They have a business, not a pension. So that's maybe worth something, but it's a less secure, end phase. End phase is a weird way to put it, but like, retirement plan.
Sure.
And so that's different, but they're, probably cashing out at the end of the party in terms of being a small business owner. And I think they saw this coming down the pike like forever, just for their own industry, that like the big businesses were getting in on it, and the party was more or less over. They forbade any of the kids from taking over the business, saying that like there's no future in what we're doing in a lot of ways.
I think a lot of mom and pop shops, like a lot of independent businesses, it just kind of, it's, like remember going downtown where we lived.
Yeah.
And when you were a kid, you would go downtown and there'd be all these shops. There's the toy store, there's the bakery, there's clothing stores, there's whatever. And there was a mall there, right? But you still had the mom and pop shops near the mall, which was a big controversy.
Well, and that mall killed a bunch of the mom and pop shops, and then the mall died, and then downtown was just a disaster.
Yeah. But I mean, nowadays,
which small Ontario town are we talking about? It's all of them.
100%, man. It's a cycle, right? And now we've got all these big box stores, and I don't know, man.
The town that the town that you're in and the town that I'm in, the downtown's coming back with more small businesses,
but it's more boutique.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily like everyday mom and pop shop. Like I find a lot of the places are a little catered to a little more a niche that's maybe a little more expensive.
It's almost like buying something from an independent person is a luxury at this point. They have to charge more because
and that's also the thing too, right? Like the support local and stuff. It's
dealing with the economics of scale and
crazy. Well, I guess I don't know. I mean, this is the first time.
So in closing, I love my dogs.
We were talking about dogs. Hey man, it's this or that. This is how the show's gonna roll. We're gonna start off with two options and see if we start with this.
Wherever we go from there.
That?
All right. Well, that's been this or that.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Or day, whatever. I don't know. Bye.
No, I don't know when you're listening to it. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Facts Schmacts.
We hope you enjoyed our show. If you want to hear more, be sure to check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/Facts Schmacts.
Or you can check us out on Facebook or on YouTube or on Twitter.com @Fact Schmacked Pod.
We also have a website, factschmacts.xyz, because we know you haven't had enough yet.
Sure.